Let's go. Welcome back, familia, to Northside LDN, and today we've got the Arsenal versus Tottenham preview for the game tomorrow at 4 p.m. kickoff. And I've got my boys. Well, listen, they're my guys. Yeah, I like these guys. Unfortunately, they're Tottenham fans, but I do like them as individuals. They're good. They're good Tottenham boys. We've got the Irish Hotspur. And we got Jack. How you doing, boys?
I'm absolutely buzzing. Can't wait for tomorrow, my man. It's what it's all about, these rivalry games. As you can see, got the jersey. I washed it in some DAS, so it's lovely and white, pristine, ready to go tomorrow to humble you guys.
Keeping well, Northside. Honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to blow up over this failed transfer, or even if it's going to be brought up at any stage. Might just want to avoid it entirely and just keep it as the elephant in the room. But yeah, thanks for having me.
No, let's get straight into it. Listen, guys, I'm going to let you lot have your say. You are my guests. You always treat me good when I go on your platform. But I have to get this off my chest. Mudryk going to Chelsea. Not only did we lose out to João Felix, yeah? 15 million euros to get a striker in, yeah? How much money are we going to spend to get in a striker of any note that already knows the league or is on the same level as João Felix? You already saw, yeah, he got a red card. You already saw him sourcing. A striker that can fit into this club right now, would fit into our system. We allowed it to go to Chelsea. Now, these filhos da puta and Edu, so filho da puta, I don't know what you're doing apart from going to Brazil, going carnival, getting a little flipping hot dog or whatever you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Flipping burgers, doing nothing, yeah? Do you know what I mean? Getting your flipping Havanas out and your crusty toes, put some flipping Nivea on it. I'm sick and tired, bro. Now, Mudryk is going to Chelsea. How come we've been chasing this filho da puta for 6-7 months? 6-7 months. Yeah, a child almost could have been born for how long we've been chasing this bum, yeah? And now he's going to Chelsea just like that. 100 million, 7-year contract, and we couldn't get it over the line. For a guy that plays in the Ukrainian league. Do you know what I'm saying? These men are probably part-time bowlers or something. I don't even know what these guys are. I'm sick and tired of the lack of ambition at this flipping club. I'm sick and tired of it. Because if he wasn't the guy that we was going for, why have we not got signings? We wasted 14 flipping days of the window. We did this last January. Wasting time. Tottenham picked us the top 4. Got rid of 6 players, didn't bring in anyone. Yeah? Oh, Alexander Isak. Oh, we're going to get Isak. Yeah, what happened there? Then we're going to get Vlahovic, bruv, he mugged us off. And now we're chasing a guy and we can't even get an agreement to the price, how much the player wants in wages. Chelsea come in straight away, swoop. And the Chelsea that is sinking. This isn't the Chelsea that just come off of winning the Champions League. This isn't the Chelsea that just come off of winning the Premier League. This is a sinking Chelsea, yet they can get their
Harry Potter's Chelsea.
I'm sick and tired. They sold their club. They're supposed to rearrange everything. They haven't got a sporting director. They don't have nobody yet. They're more resourceful than Arsenal. And this is why, yeah, when certain man come on to me, oh, do you trust the process? I don't trust nothing. Because if we weren't serious about Mudryk, why didn't we come in and get players? We got Tottenham coming up, Man United, Man City. You're telling me we don't need to bring in players. It is negligence at the highest order. And I'm sick and tired of this club being reactive instead of proactive. I'm fed up of it. We had the summer where they said they spunked the January transfer window. Oh, we're going to have a big summer. Oh, we're going to have a war chest. Yeah, the summer comes, we buy Zinchenko and Jesus. Oh, job done. And you know what the excuse is going to be? Oh, we're ahead of schedule. Fuck off. I'm not listening to none of that bullshit. Go and get what is necessary before we sink. We have the examples of Chelsea. We have the examples of Liverpool when they don't do what they need to do and then they're sinking. And now Chelsea are trying to get their shit in order. It is ridiculous. As it stands right now, what is more attractive? Arsenal Football Club or Chelsea? So how the hell are they pipping us to Mudryk? It is pathetic. Beyond pathetic. We needed to get some wins. We need to get attackers in. We need to get midfielders in. We didn't do it in the summer. Yeah, oh, we got Jesus. Now he's injured. Oh, we got Zinchenko. Does he solve our midfield crisis? I don't think so. I'm sick and tired of it. It's every flipping Buddha year, every time. I'm fed up, yeah? Then we chased, what was it, during the transfer window, the last transfer window? Oh, we're going to go after Douglas Luiz. Let's run after Douglas Luiz. If he's so great, why don't we get him this transfer window? Because it's panic buying, because we don't do what needs to be done. I'm sick and tired of it, and I'm flipping fuming. It is
like you wanted to play for Arsenal more than Chelsea as well.
I'm done.
But he's right, bro. He's right, bro. It's like you can't be. The player was But the worst thing is, you know what? I just watched. The worst thing about it is, though, is check this out. No offside. Check this out. The worst thing about it is, I just seen the Chelsea fans say, "We don't. Why are we buying him for?" Jeremy, they don't even need him. But it just goes to show, stupid. Arsenal just don't pay the money, man. They just twerk with players, and they just. But it's not about. Do you know this? It's like, you know, I really feel. This is what I'm saying. I feel for Arteta. I really do now, because this guy needs support now. No, like he needs players now. He's come out and said it, and look what they're doing. It's the club. It doesn't matter who goes there. Look at, like, for instance, Tottenham. They've got a manager in Conte. Look what they're doing to him.
Yeah,
it's the club, bro. It doesn't matter. You can have Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique is a world-class manager. It's the owners. Jamie,
Conte says something, though. At least Conte says, listen, if you lot are going to make me look like bums, I'm more than happy to walk away.
But he knows. The thing is, there's a circle in this club side. The circle is
what players we want to bring in. At least Conte's got the balls to say, this is my career.
But Arteta, you the problem is, though, you got to understand, and these two neutral fans agree with me, Arteta can walk into a big job now.
What's he won?
No, but it doesn't matter. Look what he's doing. Look, you've got to be honest with yourself as fans. You and all the rest of the Arsenal fans. We were saying this team's a mediocre. Even the Irish Spurs guy, and Jack would agree with me. People were saying this team last year are terrible. They're going to finish 8th again, the 5th. He's took them from fucking being a 8th to fucking running for the title. What's he going to do at Man City? It's the man. You can't. You got to see the reality of life, bro. This team, this club have got no ambition.
Days, bro. I'm sick and tired of this crap, bro. How long did we
the club.
waste? Forward.
It's the club we support.
Hold on. How long did we waste chasing Vlahovic? Do you remember when it was Hassan?
But that's the club, bro.
When it was Draxler? Do you remember when it was Higuain?
That's the club.
A history of doing this crap, and I'm sick and tired of it.
But it's the club. That's our club we support, bro. It is what it is. That's what we support.
Hold on. These men say they scout players for 7 to 8 months before the transfer window is open.
Bro, you knew he was going to Chelsea, bro.
The window,
do you know what?
we never get the job done.
Can I ask you a question? As an Arsenal fan, I wasn't shocked one day when Chelsea hijacked him. I wasn't shocked. They did it to Juan Mata. Juan Mata was at the Emirates Stadium. Go on, check this out. Jack, what team do you support? Tottenham, is it?
Yeah, we have Spurs fans.
And you support and the Irish, obviously, hot Spurs. Bro, check this out. Ian Wright was at the Emirates Stadium with a few players. He shook Juan Mata's hand. They were just all breaking news. He said, "Oh, welcome to Arsenal." Spoke to him and all that. He said, "I got in my car. 10 minutes later, breaking news, Juan Mata's on the way to Chelsea." That's Arsenal for you, bro.
Look, what I will say, first of all, is keep giving me them tears, because I'm absolutely soaking them up right now. But, look, we're in the same boat over at Tottenham Hotspur. You know, at least you're active in the market. At least you're trying to pursue targets. You got to remember, you guys are top of the league. We're sitting in 5th. We haven't progressed from last year, and we haven't even participated in the market. We're sitting there flirting with Pedro Porro and Sporting CP. You know, we want to go to 30 million. There's a buyout cost of 45 million. We won't go and meet it, even though right wing back has been a glaringly obvious problem all season long, if not longer.
And the right wing back we signed wasn't even Conte's choice as well, which is such a key position. And then also on top of that, we've been continuing with Moon Boots or Eric Dyer for this long of a period, and we've never replaced them. Where, I mean, Arsenal, I think to a degree, didn't have to pay any money to bring in Saliba, but at least you did change your back line. We have yet and been very reluctant to change the back line. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they have it bad, Dave, but I don't know how bad they have it.
Oh, it's nowhere near as bad as us. Like, look, centre back. You know, you've got Moonhead. You know, aka Eric Dyer. You know, giving away mistakes most games he plays. We're not even looking to replace him this window. We're told we bring in 2 in the summer. So, you know, we're going to have to accept the consequences of Eric Dyer just doing Eric Dyer things that he's been doing for 8 years. Like, you got to remember, this guy's been at our football club for 8 years. Not only that, you've got, you know, the likes of Sanchez, Davies, who've been around a long time, only ever been backups. They find themselves in our first team. At least you guys have rotated in areas and you have the foresight to do it. We don't. We're handing these guys new contracts. We're putting them on big wages. So now we're stuck at a point where we can't even offload them because they're only going to go to clubs at a lower level than Tottenham who don't have the wage budget to give them the wages these guys are looking for. You guys are in a much better position in that regards than us. But what I will say is, if our board did show that ambition, that they did go out and get centre back, right wing back, probably another player in the forward there this January transfer window, it could very easily turn around. But as well, Hugo Lloris has been in decline. We handed him a new contract. We haven't even gone out and got a replacement. The only guy we brought in the door was Fraser Forrest on a free transfer. Now, look, I can understand it. This season with the games coming in close proximity the way they were before the World Cup, we had to fill that squad out. And if we didn't bring in the amount of players we brought in the summer, it would have been an even tougher period over that sort of period. Because last season we only had a bare 11. Antonio Conte's management right now is what's taken is the reason why we are where we are. If we didn't have Antonio Conte as manager, we'd be further down that league table. Yeah. I get your guys' frustration, and I really enjoy it. I mean, you wouldn't think you're top of the league with the way you're going.
The only thing is,
all day long. But at the end of the day, you're in the market, you're active. We haven't even participated.
But the only thing is, no side. Even though, to be honest with you, even though you're upset, you didn't really want him from the start. And the fact of the matter is, I understand why you didn't want him, because there's players available. Now, this transfer market, okay, bro, it's not like an ordinary transfer market this January when players are saying, clubs are saying, we're not selling. Brighton have come out and said, we need to sell our striker, Torsad. They've come out and said it blatantly. Brendan Rodgers have come out and said on TV, and these are the players he's on about. He's on about Maddison, he's on about Tillsman, and he's on about someone else. If the players do want to play at Leicester, they're more than welcome to go. So, you know, when managers come out and say that, that's the board telling them they're in the market.
Let me say this.
So go and get them.
I also said it on the Irish Hotspur channel. I'm not too gassed about getting Mudryk, yeah?
So I don't
feel he's worth 80 million.
He ain't worth 80 million, bro.
Hold on. He will be in the future,
we've wasted 14 days. 14 days of the transfer window on this guy. You better get him over the line. Do you get what I'm saying? I may not rate him, but don't waste 14 days of the transfer window.
But I don't think...
And let's be real. When I was doing the transfer shows, it's not like we're linked to all these other players, like we're looking at other targets. We were solely focused on Mudryk. So then go and do it. I'm not only...
Yeah, but the good thing about this, do you know what? The only thing is...
We lost out to Mudryk to one of our rivals.
They're not our rivalries. They're not our rivalries, bro. They're not our rivalries.
I was speaking to Jack. Jack, you're a Tottenham fan. Now, Tottenham is probably... Is it right for me to say it's probably your last roll of the dice with the top manager with Antonio Conte? Is that not enough incentive for your club to go out there and do what needs to be done to back this guy? Arsenal sat top of the league. Is that not enough of an incentive to go out and back Arteta? Are we not right to be angry at our clubs with their lack of action and productivity in the transfer window so far?
No, you're probably spot on with that we're in a similar position here where you're in the top of the league. What you need to be doing is investing in the squad to ensure that you continue challenging for the top of the league, because you do reach those last months, those last games, and you end up kind of reaching those kind of dog days, as they kind of put it, and you need as many quality players available to you as possible. You're not going to get away with the injury record that you guys have had. You are going to have some players probably fall off, or even due to suspension or anything. You never know. And then in the case of Conte, it is basically our last hurrah with a world-class manager, or at least a serial winner of some kind that knows how to get the job done. But the thing is with Spurs is that they just don't want to invest exactly the way that those serial winners want to do it. They would rather just try to see if these serial winner managers can basically achieve something better than what the last manager did with the same exact set of players. So I think in our case, like I said, it's a bit even more pathetic, and it's a bit even more depressing, because we've been trying to hire managers who know how to win, but we don't give them the tools to know how to win. And we continue to let them use the same set of players that got the previous manager sacked. But in your case, it is kind of similar in the case that both clubs are seeing glaring opportunities to be able to get better and be able to progress further, but they just don't seem to know or want to maybe spend that extra bit of money to ensure that they keep going forward. And that's the case for you guys, and that is the case for us, obviously.
Do you know what? Though, on a real note, Jack, especially coming from an Arsenal perspective, as an Arsenal fan, on no side, you might agree with me. I'm glad it's over all this Mudryk bullshit, to be honest with you. I just want them now. They got 2 weeks to act. I'm glad it's over, bro. Because in a way, do you know why? In a way, to me, it's a blessing in disguise. You put all your peanuts into one put all your eggs into one basket, and put everything into one, and went for all out for one player. I'm glad it didn't happen. In a way, I'm upset at the same time, but I'm glad. You got 2 weeks now. You're telling me if they go to, I'll be honest with you, they can go and get Madison for 40 million now.
You could spend that money a lot better. I agree with what Northside said on our show. You could spend that money a lot better.
I'm happy because at the end of the day, you know they got the money there. Now go and buy it on decent players. Go and buy a proven Premier League players and get 3 more players in that squad, and let's try and win the league. Because I'll be honest with you, would have been comfortable spending like 100 million? It would have been up to 100 million. The Arsenal put down 62 million plus another 25 million add-ons and another 25 million. It would have took you over 100 million. Jamie, it would have gone up to like all in fees.
I know, but it's the time spent, bro. You can't buy back the time.
But it doesn't take long. At the present moment, we've got 2 weeks. It's not going to affect us now.
It's embarrassing. And listen, I want to ask the Tottenham guys, Irish Hotspur. I mean, is this not embarrassing for Arsenal? I mean, surely Arsenal and Tottenham cannot leave this transfer window and not get the business done.
Look, everything about your club since Wenger has left has been embarrassing, in my opinion, and I'm all for it. But look, I think where our frustrations come from both sides, if I'm being brutally honest, is the fact that there's a fear of being left behind. You know, you look at Chelsea and Liverpool, they're going to have a rebuild. So there's a chance for the 2 North London clubs to be able to assert their dominance and get ahead of them and put ourselves inside that top 4 firmly. But also with the likes of Newcastle coming to the fore with the money they've got, Man City, this is where the fear comes from. We don't want to be left behind. Look, from a Spurs perspective, I've said this all along. If we don't do business this January, we ain't getting top 4. We ain't getting Champions League. You know, we are going to be left behind. And then it's going to get to the point where Conte is going to walk because we're not backing him in the positions that he knows he needs in this January. And it's getting to the point where this Tottenham Hotspur could very easily find themselves back to the club they were when I first started supporting them as a boy, which is mid-table team, mid-table obscurity. You know, and I don't want that. So for me, I think, look, we should be investing. Right now, there's an opportunity to get a couple of years ahead of Chelsea, a couple of years ahead of Liverpool, invest, back Antonio Conte. Our season could change very quickly. If we beat E tomorrow, we've got Man City on Thursday. I think we've got Fulham after that, and then City again. We win 3 out of them 4 games. We could very easily find ourselves closer to the top of the table, and our season could change very, very quickly. So it's very, very important that we do invest in key positions this January. I'm talking about players that can walk straight into the first team. Our chairman in summer, he brought in Jed Spence. Now, I like Jed Spence. I think he's going to be a really good player in the future. But at the end of the day, it went against what Antonio Conte wanted for that position. And we're at a point now where we can't. Antonio Conte doesn't play the guy because if he does, it means the board are going to do that to him again in future in the transfer market. So he's making a stand by not playing them to say, look, go and get me a Pedro Porro. Go and get me a Wilfred Singo. We need them. We need players that can walk into this team now to be able to help make our first 11 strong. What you guys are really looking for is just additions to help to sort of beef out your squad, because I truly believe a couple of injuries, a couple of bad results, your league title dreams are absolutely over. I think
they even said they don't have plan Bs off the bench, Dave. They even, Northside said if the first 11 doesn't get it done, then they don't really have, firepower off the bench that they can try to change the game with. And so they're going to need to look at that this January. The problem is for us, Dave, is that it's both ways, is that if we win tomorrow and then we also win maybe one of those games against Man City as well, I mean, you would need to also beef up the squad still with transfers and show Conte that you have faith in him. But if let's say it actually doesn't go that way and we end up losing some of these games, it's the same thing where we can't just expect Conte to then still stick it out for the rest of the season with those sort of shit players. And that's another problem though as well. Is that Spurs kind of have to invest no matter what, no matter what sort of stage it is, whether it goes wrong or whether it goes right.
Fans are also turning on Conte though at the minute because of this, because some fans are like the football's boring, but I'm trying to explain to them we want to play this build out from the back lovely football, but you've got to have players to be able to do that. We don't have the back line to do that. So our football absolutely suffers because of it. Even when we are dominating games or starting, we're doing well in the games. At the end of the day, our defenders start putting balls into the stand, start miscontrolling balls, letting it run over their feet, under their studs, the whole lot. you know, and it affects our game. And then because of it, because the football looks so drab because of that, because of individual errors, everyone's then starting to blame Antonio Conte. And it's becoming a problem. Like I see the same things happening now as to what happened under Jose Mourinho when he was Tottenham boss. We bring in these elite managers to bring us to their level, which is the trophies. So bring in players at their level. There's no point of selling fans a dream and then bringing in guys that you should be bringing under like a Pochettino or a Nuno or somebody like that. You know, look, you guys have it better than us at the minute. At least you're participating in a market that's fucking open. Tottenham Hotspur, all we are is, you know, interested, inquiring, this, and no official bid. Haven't made an attempt for anybody. And we need it more than anyone. We don't want to be saying, we don't want to say Tottenham's day back. You know, we don't want it. We want to be able to play Champions League football next year. We ain't win the Champions League this year. And the only way that's going to come is with strong investment this January in 2 or 3 key positions, players ready to walk into the first team.
I think, you know what, it's true, bro. And do you know the worst thing about this transfer is too? It's like everyone like it's like I just seen a comment there when he said Mudryk was playing the fans. And do you know why I agree with him? Because you know when he was leaving just now, they showed it, innit? He's a professional, Jamie. He's going to go where he's been told to go, and where his agents tell him to go, and where the money is. So he's a professional. It ain't going to affect him because he supports Arsenal. Harry Kane supports Arsenal, but look how he fucking batters us all the time.
Love scoring as well.
I love scoring against us. Do you know who's another one who scored? Used to batter us all the time, and he's a massive Arsenal fan. It was Drogba. Fans got to realise because they support another team. I'll tell you, Dennis Bergkamp's a Tottenham fan. Jamie, so because they support other team, it doesn't mean like it's their profession as a footballer. They got to be professionals about it. Jamie, so it don't make a difference if he's putting up photographs, I support Arsenal and all that. He's going to Chelsea to do a job. You know, that's what fans don't realise. Like some fans don't realise that. They think they're gonna because he's tweeting and he's saying that doesn't matter. Zinchenko, as an Arsenal fan, he played 1,000,000% for Man City. Footballers, these guys are professionals. So it doesn't matter if they support Arsenal, if they support Newcastle, if they support Tottenham. If whatever club comes for them who's paying their wages, that's the club they're going to play for, and that's their ambition.
What annoys me is the fans. What annoys me is the fans. You know what it is with Arsenal fans? You know what it will be? Before it was, he's the next Neymar. He's this. He's the next Messi. He's this, he's that. Now that he's gone to Chelsea, we didn't really want him anyway. He was overpriced anyway. He's not really all that. So why have you man been putting compilations of this guy for the last 6-7 months then? Why have you man been overhyping this guy? Yeah? We don't want to waste, we don't want to panic buy. How's it panic buying when we've been scouting this guy for 6-7 months? It is ridiculous. I don't ridiculous, bro. And what annoys me, is the with Arsenal, we always move the goalposts. Then it's going to be, we don't want to panic buy. We're ahead of schedule. Don't panic. We're top of the league. And then when we don't win the league because we're not doing enough business in January, we were ahead of schedule. Well, F been ahead of schedule. If you're ahead of schedule, we've got the transfer window. Let's push on. Why is it that we get to top 4 and we just relax? As long as we qualify for top 4, that's all right. We just relax. No ambition. And with Tottenham, I see the same thing. Not only with Arsenal fans, Tottenham fans. I don't see enough Tottenham fans demanding their club to go out there and do what needs to be done. It's very comfortable. As long as we get top 4, as long as we finish above Arsenal, that's not a trophy.
No, we want trophies. Trust me, we want trophies, man. Spurs fans do demand it every single window. You know? We do, trust me. We want trophies. Like, at least even though you've gone through your period since Arsene Wenger, at least you've picked up an FA Cup. We haven't won a trophy in 15 years. The last trophy we won was it was called like the Worthington Cup or the Carling Cup at the time, which is, we do want trophies and we do demand better. It's just like what do you do when these owners have their way of doing things? They're never going to change it for people like us. Never. They don't care about us. All they care about is the finances. They look at the sheets, and as long as they're balanced, that's all that matters to them.
Mm. I think the most. Do you know what? I think the United Manchester. See, look at that. Do you know why Man United are playing so well now? It's because all the players from top to bottom are released from the owners because they know they're selling now. They got people who's willing to come in and just pump the money. So now they're playing because they know the club ain't going to be run like as it is before. They're going to have owners who are going to come in and pump in the money. So the United fans are happy. They're backing the team. They're backing their club again. But we got, for some reason, our fan base, I'll be honest with you, if Arsenal don't buy no one in this transfer market,
which I hope they
then
don't.
and then we'll probably. I think. Look, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. They got 2 weeks to buy. If I see them going in for 70 million, you got to go and buy 2 players for 70 million.
See, the problem ball clubs have nowadays is that football is genuinely a money game now. Players move for the highest wage. Teams sell for the highest transfer. They don't necessarily anymore strategically plot out their career. Seeing players that with big potential going to big clubs, and you never hear from them again because they're never going to get into the first team. None of them want to take, okay, it's a little bit wages, but I'll go here because I'll get games, I can develop my career, and I'll back myself to get that big move in the future. Football is absolutely dominated by money now, and unless you have the owner of a whole country's wealth behind you, you're not going to be able to compete with a City, with a Newcastle, act the way PSG do in the windows and stuff like that. It's just not possible because you don't have that sort of money. Where you come up against is, look, that Chelsea owner, Bowley, it's a tie to him. He wants Chelsea to be the number one club so that when he rocks up to these big conferences and all this, he's walking in with the big swinging dick. Look at my club. Where I put all the money in. It's my toy. I'm winning trophies, this, that, and the other. Whereas what we have for us, we have guys who let finances dictate. And this is where someone like me, where I get frustrated, is at times like we went 3 transfer windows without signing anybody. When we were at our best stage, I've seen this club under Pochettino going for league titles, getting far in all the domestic cups, doing well in the Champions League. But we had to sit there and accept 3 windows with no signings in order to get our stadium, in order to get our training complex, this, that, and the other. But where we're at now is we need the owners to dig their hands into the pockets, find more money, and continue to back Conte. The fans showed you patience, so now it's your time to repay us. And it doesn't look like they're going to do that. Now, they're going to come out and say, well, look, we don't have the capabilities of doing this. We have finances, this, that, and the other. But I'm at the point now, you see Man City getting away with financial fair play, PSG getting away with financial fair play.
Chelsea.
It's Chelsea. It's kind of getting to the point where fans of most clubs are just like, well, if they're getting around it, just inflate your sponsorships and fucking go out and sign who you want. But we have to. I understand the frustrations that we want to be up there, but unfortunately, we just don't have that sort of money. So every window that comes around, these guys, when they bring in a player for 70, 80 million that hasn't worked out, they'll go again in January because they can do that. Money's absolutely nothing to them. So Tottenham, we can do it to a certain extent, but we've got heavy finance from the stadium still to pay off, from all the training complex. We've still got to regenerate the Tottenham area that we promised that came with the stadium.
And Tottenham runs with sort of a no risk kind of a policy when it comes to anything kind of transfer related or anything, even just spending on that transfer budget. Even if they get the player wrong, like with Ndombele, Sanchez, they got the player and everything really wrong. But it's not like we're spending 60 million on a player every single window. Like that's quite rare for us. In fact,
you don't need to, bro. You don't need to.
So we never take risks ever. That's sort of the other issue.
Yeah. You look at Basuma. When our clubs are looking at players like Zaha, Trossard, Tielemans, Maddison going for a bargain due to what they should be worth if they still had a longer contract. We have to pounce on that. You can get Zaha for 20, 30 mil. Our clubs have got to pounce
15,
on that.
bro.
I get 15. We don't have the oil money to be spending 80. But when you're seeing opportunities, like for example, I gave Tottenham praise. When Tottenham went for Basuma, saw that opportunity went. It didn't break the budget. It didn't break the wage bill. You have to pounce on those situations. I get it that our clubs are not going to always be able to pay 90 mil, then 90 mil again, then 80 mil, then 100 mil. I get that. But when you see those kind of deals come up and our clubs are dragging their feet whether they're going to go for those players or not, I can't excuse that. I can't excuse that.
We're also missing the point here, though, Northside. We know we don't have that sort of money to do it every single window, right? But then it either comes where you have to look for your owners to sell to someone that can take it that direction, or you look at the mismanagement inside the club. Like, for instance, Tottenham, we had a guy in there called Steve Hitchen for 3 years. He brought in dud after dud after dud, showed no improvement whatsoever. But we kept him in a job for 3 years. We spent 300 million under this guy. So if you can't compete at that level, then the internal parts of the club have to be run so much better. So, like, you look at Arsenal, for instance, the squad was in a mess for quite some time. They're in the process of sorting out, but this has been the same with Tottenham. Our squad has been in a mess for quite some time, and we're trying to sort it out. But when you have the constant hiring and firing of managers, different projects, which you guys went through before arteta, we've gone through. Now, we don't know what way it's going to go on the content, but right now we have a history since Pochettino sacking a manager every 16 to 18 months. And then all you're doing right now, our squad resembles 4 different regimes. We've got players there from Pochettino, not necessarily. We've got the best and the worst of that Poch side. We've got players from under Jose Mourinho who just never cut the mustard. You got players brought in here under Nuno who weren't good enough. So if you don't have that sort of money, then you got to look at the internals of your club. What's your scouting department like? What's your director of football like? What's the people in charge of the finances like? You've got to look more into that, because you don't have the money to compete. And this is where these two clubs have gone wrong down the years. We just simply haven't signed the right players in the door. We're playing catch up, and it's come to the point now where we've dwindled with it for so long. The money's starting to come into the game, and we're in danger of being left behind. That's just a sad reality of it,
Yep.
But if the owners aren't going to sell, then the business model has to change.
Yeah, I agree. That's the truth. Yeah.
Put it back a little bit once you've got a good squad, and in other windows where you need the areas to be improved, go for it, and then just let the fans know, okay, in this is going to have repercussions in the summer transfer window, and I think most fans will be acceptable of that. As long as you're up there competing, you've got a good manager, you've got a good squad. But unfortunately, these two North London clubs have been misrun for the last, for I'd say at least the last probably,
but
6, if not more years.
But you know what I see? Do you know the difference? Do you know what I see is with how they structure it? It's like it's like everyone's talking about Chelsea. Everyone could talk about the Chelsea. You could talk about look where they are. You could talk about the Newcastles. But at the same time, you got to understand, teams like Fulham got money. They got a lot of money too. Like and do you know how their owners do it now? Because they say at Fulham, these owners now, like look what Newcastle did. Man City are doing it. Man City are sponsored by Etihad Airlines. They're sponsored by an airline that they're owned by the company who owns this. So what he does, everyone's doing it now. He will pump 200 million out of that money. Then he'll put 200 million out of those. So Newcastle, like he said, you got 200 million, but you got 400 million to spend in the summer. It's up to you. Now that's how an owner runs his club. Fulham got money like that. Fulham got an owner who's very rich. And even so, he say, you want money? Here's 100 million, and I'll sponsor it. Fulham's got about 200 million to spend in the summer. Aston Villa spent 150 million in the summer. They got a rich owner. It's not. Nottingham Forest got a rich owner. Do you know what I mean? It's not just Chelsea. A lot of teams are doing like they're going like they're buying these clubs and then they're sponsoring them so tax don't get it out of their own money. So it goes into the club. Our owners, they don't do that. Tottenham and Arsenal. Loan, tax.
But this is where these owners have to have more scrutiny on the internals of the club then, because, look, our owners come out saying we can't compete with that. Okay, fair enough. Some understand it, some don't. But if that's the case, then your internals have to be absolutely spot on. You have to have the right guy, the right director.
You play in a stadium, bro. How would they? It's like Arsenal and Tottenham. We play in massive stadiums. We got massive revenues. Doesn't matter what thing. The fact of the matter is, you go to Spurs, you go to the Emirates. You got 60,000 fans buying merchandise. You're buying a can of Coke for a $5 inside the stadium. Don't tell me they don't make money. They make millions and they're on the whole.
No, of course they make money. I agree.
You know what it is, bro? They're too tight. They feel that. They think, oh, I want more of this.
Do you know what it is? They play too. They want to meet the financial fair play rules all the time.
That's all bullshit,
because they don't have their own companies to be able to flush that money in through sponsorship, and inflate the sponsorships. They're scared to go against the financial fair play rules, and that's the problem. Like, look at Tottenham. I think we're what? We're 8th or 10th richest club in the world, and look how much we suffer. We don't win silverware. It's like we were supposed to have a World Cup period to tie down Antonio Conte to a new contract. Most Spurs fans knew that wasn't going to happen because there was a standoff. Conte wasn't going to sign a new contract because he wants assurances he was going to be backed, and the club weren't going to give him them assurances unless he signs a new contract. Now we're sitting here in the January transfer window. 2 weeks have gone by. 2 weeks are left. We're not even active. We've got glaring and obvious holes in the squad that need to be filled. At least you guys are going after players, and you're at the point where you can sit there and identify the right targets to be able to bring in here, because you're not looking to necessarily prove that first 11. You're looking to beef out that squad. But what you should be doing is bringing in players that are better than what you have in the first 11 and create competition. But this is what Spurs need to do after this January, going into the summer transfer window. Conte's already called it. We need to be signing 70 million pounds players every single window. And now that we've beefed out our squad a little, I know it doesn't look like it to many Spurs fans at the minute because of the amount of injuries we've carried this season. But in the summer, we should then be in a position where you're looking to spend 60, 70, 80 million on one player, bring him in here, make sure and with only having to bring in 2 players, it gives you a lot of time to do your homework. It gives you a lot of time to get that signing right. But in previous years, because both clubs have been looking to beef up their squads, this, that, and the other, you don't have as much time to scout these guys. Like, you don't have as much time to do your due diligence behind the scenes, make sure they're good characters, which reflects itself then on the training pitch, on the football.
No, they're lazy.
This,
Our clubs are lazy. It's like I watched a show yesterday with Northside and Diesel, and Northside made a wicked valid point. You made a beautiful point yesterday in the show. I agreed with him. Said, why, if you're going to go thing, there's a lot of players out there who are actually like the Moroccan midfielder. Go and get him. But he's not worth 70 million. Do you get me? That was yesterday, and that's what they're saying. So that's why I hope Arsenal now have come to their common senses and think, do you know what? Why are we going in for one player? Play not, we can go and get him. Like there is players out there. It's just down to them to buy them. And if we got money to spend, go and buy that Moroccan midfielder, Albert. Go and get Tossard. Go and get Zaha and bring Tillsman. It won't cost 90 million.
Do you know what, Fuad? Do you know what I'd prefer from my club? If they come out to me and tell me, you know what? This is like Specsavers. This is like Morrison's. This is like Tesco's. This is about profit. This ain't about competing, trophy. No. This is a business, and this is what we're doing. If they come out and say to me, then I'll put my expectations down. I'll stop watching Arsenal. I had enough. But the thing is, we do our bit. We get behind the team. We look. Yeah. We're here 100%. For every game. We get pumped up. We take our own, time right now. All of us are taking time right now to follow our clubs. All we need is our clubs to do everything they can in their power. If they don't win, fair. If Arsenal spend within their means and actually go out there and actually are proactive and actually get the players that we need and stuff, and we can't win the league, I'll be like, you know what? My club is doing everything that they can. I can't ask anything more of my club. But both of us, Arsenal fans and Tottenham fans, can both look at the regime, both look at what's going on and say, have we learned? In the last 10, 15 years, have we learned? Have we progressed? Or are we repeating the same mistakes? Stop lying to us that you guys want to compete. You man just want Champions League football. And I said this January transfer window is going to show me if this club only wants Champions League money like they did the last couple of years under Arsene Wenger, or it's actually about competing and winning major honours. When we came to the Emirates, they said that we came to the Emirates to compete with Bayern Munich. Really? Really? Because it doesn't look like it to me. We won more major honours over there at Highbury than at Emirates. Emirates
haven't seen Bayern Munich in a while either.
Bro, I don't want to see them. Last time it was 8-2. I don't want to see them. You know what I'm saying?
It's true, bro.
I want to ask you, Jack. Let's move on a little bit because I need to just calm down. My blood pressure is going on high right now. Yeah. How do Tottenham beat Arsenal and how do Arsenal beat Tottenham? What do either team need to do to come out victorious in the North London derby, Jack?
I think it's easy for Arsenal, so I'll start with that. For Arsenal, it's press that back line of ours. We only probably have you could say Romero is confident and composed on the ball. Longley is pretty confident and composed on the ball. But Eric Dyer is a complete liability on the ball, and he's very capable of making big mistakes for us. And then also Hugo Lloris is also very shocking on the ball as well. So what I would do is that I would do maybe what you've done in previous derbies, which is just press that back line and maybe hope that they kind of play themselves into some bad areas, into some trouble. And then you can kind of turn the ball over from there and then maybe find yourself kind of making pretty easy opportunities. But kind of then for Spurs, the way that I think we would beat Arsenal is I don't think we go actually toe-to-toe with you guys. I really don't. I don't think we should try to be really expansive or high press or anything like that. I think I'm not saying we just put every single man behind the ball, but I do feel like we should sit in some sort of compact shape where we make it really hard for your wingers to be able to get a lot of space, or we at least maybe force them into less sort of dangerous areas. And then as well, then we could just sort of turn the ball over, maybe force you to have a bit of a high line kind of to, push up a bit. And then when we turn the ball over, just kind of play over the top and just play in behind you with Sonny, Kulusevski, and Kane, basically, because it's always been a recipe for us. It's how we beat Man City every single time. And to be honest, like you could see us doing it against Arsenal. Arsenal sort of play a similar type of style to the likes of Man City. So I would say the blueprint that we've used under Jose, under Conte, plenty of managers, with kind of finding a defensive shape to kind of, sit in and then sort of turn the ball over in the right areas, and usually ideally in that midfield. And then we can sort of, spring a counterattack from there. But I think for Arsenal, honestly, north side, it's quite easy. Just basically just force that back line, especially Eric Dyer, to make big mistakes either on the ball or just maybe force him to make a decision defensively that's uncomfortable. It's that back line where you're going to, have a lot of joy. Matt Doherty maybe too, just because he's not the best defensively. And Perisic isn't the greatest defensively either. It's just that whole back five, really, to be fair.
I'd also add to that as well. I think there's another couple of ways. I'd be firing off early shots at you guys. Confidence is absolutely rock bottom. He makes a lot of mistakes. Now, look, I know he kept a clean sheet against Palace, but the course of this season, he's made a lot of mistakes. Even the last North London derby against you guys, he spilled the ball straight out into one of your, who was it, Gabriel Jesus' path. I think he tucked it away. So I'd be testing Hugo nice and early. But it's also, don't keep possession for the sake of keep possession. Get balls into our box. You're going to get joy. We switch off. We don't track runners. We can't deal with aerial balls into our box. So, just when you have the ball, look to be active with the ball. It's that simple when it comes up against our back line. Even if we are in your half, keep the likes of Saka, Martinelli, and Nketiah up nice and high, because we are so bad on the counter. If one of your players gets that ball to feet, watch our defenders from the halfway line jockey all the way back to our 6-yard box without making one challenge. I've seen it so many times this season. I've seen it time and time again. There's a number of ways you guys can get at us. A number of ways. But the difference tomorrow will be the intimidating atmosphere the Spurs fans are going to bring, which rocked your confidence last year, and it's going to happen again tomorrow.
Fair enough. For me, I just feel like Tottenham can get got at defensively. That's your weakest side of your team. For me, I don't rate Dyer, don't rate Skip, don't rate Perisic. I think he's all right. I don't think he's that bad. I think
he's good going forward. He's not good defensively, but he's good going forward. He will come.
And you just said exactly what I would say about Perisic. Better going forward than defensively. And for me, we had a guy that was like that, Nuno Tavares, and I would rather a fullback that does his defensive duty first and then everything else is secondary. Even Trent Alexander-Arnold has been cast a lot because of his defensive duties isn't as great as him going forward. Personally, whatever your main job is, I want you to be great at that first, and then everything else is secondary. You know what I'm saying? And I rate you first off. If you're a defender, defend, because that is your main job. But I get it. He's good at going forward, but defensively, he can get got at, just like you're saying. Doherty, for me, ain't good enough. The only one I really rate is Romero, and that says a lot about your defense. I know you guys brought up that we've got Saliba and Gabriel, and I do understand that if they get injured, who have we got? But we got the basis of a good defense. I don't feel like Tottenham have a basis of a good defense. You take out Romero, that whole thing looks shaky against the big six, in my opinion.
Yeah, it does.
And that's why you have a good base.
It's been proven this season. It's been proven this season when Romero hasn't been there. He's missed a large part of the season. We got absolutely walloped against United, destroyed against Liverpool, destroyed at your place. Romero is absolutely crucial to that back line, because what it is about him, he's proactive. He wants to defend. He wants to get in people's faces. He wants to dislodge the ball, whereas the other guys want to back off. But Romero's also good on the football. Make no mistake about that. You press the guy, he's got a good passing range, but not only that, he's confident to be able to get on the ball, beat a player, and make things happen. But this is the problem with Tottenham this season. If we had a better back line, and I've said this for a long time at Spurs, everyone last summer was calling for attacking reinforcements, which, look, you would argue you probably need as well. But I said, hang on, You need defenders because it starts with from the back. If you don't keep clean sheets, you don't have a chance of winning any game. And it's been proven this season. We're starting most games or going in at half time, 1 or 2-0 down. Now we've picked up the most points from coming back in the second half this season, but it's not a sustainable model to pursue it. And we've seen that this season when we've been caught in games. And it's like we need to improve that back line. It's becoming so costly. Sir Alex Ferguson said it. Attacks win your games, but defense wins your leagues. That's why it's so important that you have to have that consistency. You got to keep them clean sheets because, we've got players in our team like Kane, even though Son's off form this year, Kulu, who can go and win us a game. But you've got to be strong across the defense to keep teams out. And we can't do that. And it's been our biggest Achilles heel this season, Honestly, we're watching playground stuff. I'm watching Eric Dyer go to pass back to Hugo Lloris. It's gone out for a corner kick. I'm sitting there, I'm screaming. I'm going nuts. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? You go to the Brentford game. The ball comes to Eric Dyer. There's nobody around with him in about a 40-yard radius. Guess what the guy does? He does the impossible. He kicks it 40 yards backwards out for a corner kick, which we know we don't defend because we don't compete in the air. And Brentford go and score from it. It just makes our game harder. You've got Hugo Lloris against Aston Villa. A shot from 45 yards. You're thinking, okay, get behind it, gather it up. He palms it out straight into Ollie Watkins' path for him to tap home. That guy barely scores a goal. It's absolutely ridiculous. The back line is costing this club this season, but it looks like we're not going to do anything about it until the summer. But this comes because we had Toby and Jan. Sanchez was brought in here to fill their boots when they left. He's still our backup. Pay 45 million for him. You've got Dyer, failed right back, failed CDM. Now he's playing centre back. How is this guy being allowed to be here for 8 years without giving service of what you think a veteran of a football club would give? He's been back up for the majority of his career. He only found himself into the team once Toby and Jan were fucked off because of their age.
It would be like if Rob Holding was playing every game.
It's not like the guy has any competition. We've only brought Romero in. We brought Lenglet in on loan. And, we tried to bring in Joe Rodon over the last 3 years to get that. Like, the problem is, to get that back line cohesive, it's a joke. Like, we just don't accept that it doesn't work, get them out of the club. We just want to persist with them. And then what we do is, under Jose Mourinho, things started off well. Now, all of a sudden, some of these guys, the defense started going haywire. Jose Mourinho carried the can and got sacked. Nuno, we went the first 3 games. We bet Man City last season in the first 3 games. All of a sudden, not having him, defense goes haywire. He carries the can. Now, look, I don't mind him being sacked, to be honest. But then you also look at Conte now. He's suffering because of that back line, and everyone's starting to question the guy's. Is he tactically good? Does he know? We're starting to question the guy's football knowledge. This is a guy that's won Serie A. Just a guy, that wins trophies. And this is how bad this back line makes us look. And I've been on this case for 3 years now. If they're 2 years, if not longer, I'm fed up with it. These guys just have to go. We've got to just accept they're not good enough on a consistent basis. They're killing this football club this season. They're killing it.
I got a question for Jack. This is from D1. Big up D1. What happened in the Manchester derby? But anyway, we'll talk about that another day. Question for the Tottenham panel. What's your thoughts on Jed Spence not getting any game time? Jack?
Jed Spence was basically signed by the looks of things by the owner, Northside. He was signed basically because Conte has alluded to it. Our director of football hasn't exactly taken ownership either of the signing. It's been kind of labeled as a signing by the owner. The owner knew the agent of the player, and the owner knew that we needed a right wing back this season. So he basically kind of found a way to sort of maybe kind of please himself by getting a young sort of English talent that he could develop here and be able to sell on for lots of money in the future. But then at the same time, maybe not pay as much money for, let's say, a Hakimi or a Pedro Porro or a really brilliant right wing back that we actually needed over that summer. So it kind of was a bit of a, how would you put it, like a political kind of transfer of some kind, where it was the owner trying to maybe shove on some sort of right wing back onto Conte's lap, that he was like, here, I got you a right wing back, do something with it. Conte clearly wanted a different right wing back, or just clearly did not want Jed Spence. He's maybe kind of making a bit of a, how would you put it? He's making his feelings quite clear, and it's kind of turning into this kind of drama or political situation where, yes, he should be playing Jed Spence, but the reason he's not playing Jed Spence is because he's being kind of pushed around by maybe the ownership when it comes to maybe certain transfers. And since he clearly didn't want that transfer, he's just going to make it clear that he didn't want that transfer by not playing Jed Spence at any opportunity he basically gets. So you feel bad for Jed Spence because he's the one that gets sort of, the victim in all of this. But you also have to feel bad for Conte, because then Conte gets all this kind of bad rap and all this kind of bad imagery for being kind of a bully to Jed Spence when, he didn't even want Jed Spence in the first place. So it's really all kind of stems back to, whoever bought the guy in the first place, which we think is Daniel Levy.
No, look, as well, just to add to that, I didn't think, I think there's a real player there in Jed Spence. I think he will go on to have a decent career as long as none of the attitude problems show up that were there under Neil Warnock at the time. But, this is a guy that had a meteoric rise. He got Nottingham Forest to promotion to the Premier League, made Championship Team of the Year, got into the England under-21 squad from complete obscurity. Nobody knew about him whatsoever, But the problem is that we knew we needed right wing backs at this club. Now, if the club are going to bring in Jed Spence, you've got to follow that up by a guy that Conte wants, that he feels assured with, ready to walk in the first team. I think if we would have done that and got rid of Doherty and Emerson, you would see a lot more of Jed Spence. I truly believe that. But right now, Conte ain't playing Jed Spence because it's like, well, if I do that, the club are just going to do it to me again in the future. And I'm the one that's going to be made look incompetent. I'm the one that's going to be sacked. So I'm sticking to my guns, and he lets every Spurs fan know that every chance every opportunity he gets, that it's kind of like, look, I need players in here that are good enough to walk into the first team. He alluded to it, but I need two 60, 70 million pound players every single window. I think he accepted the fact that last summer was about beefing out the squad. But he knows now this January he needs backing in, or continued backing in key positions to be able to help to take this forward. Because if it goes backward, I feel we're going to be looking for a new manager in the summer because some of these mistakes. But like Jack's spot on. But like I said, if we would have brought in two, one for the future and one ready for the here and now, and ship Matt Doherty and Emerson out, I think you would have seen a different story for Jed Spence, fate. Sadly, look, me and Jack have made no secret about this. We feel completely sorry for the guy, because you shouldn't be bringing in a guy and then be using them as a pawn between the, exactly. A power struggle between the manager and the owner. It should never happen to any football player. I feel completely sorry for him. Now, look, I'd like to see him go out on loan, but apparently Jed Spence has no intentions of wanting to go out on loan. He wants to stay and fight for his place.
It's a complicated one. You can write a book about it.
Why bring in a manager and then not back him? It makes no sense. That is completely on your board. It's just stupid. If you're going to bring a Conte, you know where he comes, you know what he wants, he's going to throw he's like a Mourinho. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to start throwing his toys out.
Look, no, Northside, I think we tried to back him. Like the board put, what was it, 150 million into something for us to draw down to be able to use on transfers. Like we spent 100 and something million this season, but we also had to play for Romero this season that we brought in on a loan to buy from the previous season. So that brings our spending up a bit more. But the point is, and we had so many places we need to fill. Like last season, we were on a bare 11, absolute bare 11, But we needed to beef up that squad. We needed to beef it up. We brought in players, but unfortunately, a lot of the players we've brought in have been injured. Some of them haven't hit the ground running, this, that, and the other. So I do think they've tried to back Conte, but they were in a position where they needed to beef out the squad. Now, this January is the most important one, because it's like, okay, you've done so much underneath him, but go again. Don't pull the reins in like you've done on Jose. Don't do that. Go again. Back this project. The guy brought us from Europa Conference League to Champions League within 6 months. How's that not enough evidence to convince you to go again underneath him this January? This is the problem with me. And if he doesn't, I don't speak for him.
Then go get a Graham Potter. If why bring in a manager that you can't give him what he will demand? Go get a Graham Potter. I think Graham Potter would have fit Tottenham a lot better.
Graham Potter actually hilariously said no to us. Hilariously said no to us.
Okay, cool. You may not agree. That's fair enough. It's your club. I get it. When I look at it, Conte, you don't spend the money that Conte wants spent on the players that he wants, because he wants ready-made players. Tottenham doesn't really do that. Even I've said before, Arsenal don't really do that. We spend money, but not on already proven players. Graham Potter is very good as a coach. Tottenham, for the players that you buy, are players that are on the up, like a Jed Spence, like you said, Jed Spence coming up, like a Jed Spence. You need a coach that's able to coach those players and get the best out of them, like he did with Poch. You know, Poch was great at that. He had certain players, a lot of them he didn't bring, but he was able to coach the best out of them. I think that's when you get the best out of Tottenham. But when you bring in a Mourinho, when you bring in a Conte, I don't think it works because your football model at your club doesn't fit for those managers. Those managers fit more at Chelsea, that's going to throw money at it. A Man United, that's going to throw money at it, even though it didn't work on Man United. But clubs like that will throw the money at it. Tottenham aren't really that kind of club. And that's why
don't bring him in.
Misfit.
Don't sell that dream. Look, the reason why Antonio Conte is here is because at the Man United game, it was dubbed El Sacico. Whoever lost that, either Solskjaer or Nuno, they were gone. You know, we pulled the trigger quicker and got an Antonio Conte. But the only reason why Conte was brought in here was to please the fans, because everyone was looking at the board and it's like, what the fuck's going on here?
They did it to save their own ass.
What the hell is going on? So it was brought in to appease the fans, and it's got to a point now where it's like, okay, show us what your intentions are under this guy. Are you going to go again under him? Or are you going to pull the funding, sack him, and then bring in another guy? And if you do that, what's the point? What's the point of laying out 100, 150 million under this guy in the first place? Don't sell the dream to fans. And this is where a lot of fans' frustrations come into it. You know, give the guy, again, this January in key positions that this squad needs to be able to maintain, you know, a consistent run of form like we done last season. Last season, we brought in Bentancur and Kulu. And they helped us find some consistency and helped us go on a run to be able to get top four. So the proof is in the pudding last year from doing it. So do it again this year. I'm of the firm belief, to be honest with you, Northside, it's not how much you spend. It's what you spend it on. Like, there are good deals to be had out there. Look at what we done with Bentancur and Kulu last January. They're good players, very good players. You know, it's not how much you spend, it's what you spend it on. But my problem is like, we needed to act early this January transfer window. We haven't. We're sitting here with 2 weeks left. We don't really know who we're going after. We're seeing different links every day. We don't know what the plan is. You know, the trust put questions to the board. The board are not answering any of them till the end of January. It's not helping anybody. You know, it's like this since the Champions League final. This is where we went wrong at Tottenham Hotspur. Now, for me, and like I said, I only speak for myself. I don't represent all Spurs fans. But this club was going in an upward trajectory until that Champions League final. The minute that whistle blew is when it went on the decline. You know, we chose to not back Pochettino with what he wanted. He called for, what was the right phrase, Jack? Painful rebuild. He called for a painful rebuild. Now, we let it go on for so long, but we didn't do enough. Like, the signs were there before the Champions League final. The Champions League final masked our league form. Our league form, I think, from November onwards was not the best. But, you know, we lost Wanyama and Dembele that season to injuries. We didn't go again in the January transfer window that season and bring in another centre midfielder, you know. And then we went to go in the summer, and then we ended up bringing in Endon Fadas. But at the end of the day, we didn't do our homework on him because our scouting department was in decline. We ended up bringing in Endon Belly over Man City, who were heavily interested, Real Madrid heavily interested, Barcelona and Bayern Munich. How did Tottenham come to the front of the pile? Because the rest of them done their homework. They digged in. They realised the guy had fitness issues before he reached the top tier of French football. He had attitude problems. Did Tottenham find any of that out? No. So we were left with a guy who does what he wants on the football pitch, couldn't give a shit about the club he's representing, paid high money, and he's on colossal wages. We can't get rid of the guy. We're having to loan him out, and it has a knock-on effect. You know? And since that Champions League final, we've hired and fired managers. Like, even under Jose Mourinho, we brought in 7 players. They weren't Jose Mourinho, Joe Rodon. You're telling me Jose Mourinho goes, oh, out of all the centre-backs available, I'm going to go for Joe Rodon from Swansea out of the Championship. You know, the guy would rather a 34-year-old with 2 crock knees than Joe Rodon. It's the type of manager he is. And this is where it's gone wrong. It's the constant hiring and firing of managers and not bringing in a guy and going, right, this is the plan. We're going to, we understand the squad is in decline. We understand the squad is nowhere near the level that we want it, but we're going to back you until we get it there. But we don't do that. And the problem is, the reason why we don't do it is because we've got the likes of an Eric Dyer, a Ben Davies, a Davinson Sanchez, a Lucas Moura. I'm going to throw Cesc Young in there as well. Players that aren't in a hurry to move on. These players, especially in the likes of Dyer and Davies' case, been at the club 7-8 years. So they have a massive saying around the club. And we know this because Ben Davies went and spoke to Daniel Levy on the players' behalf to get Nuno sacked. I'm sorry, but what right does Ben Davies have to get a manager sacked when he's done fucking nothing at Tottenham Hotspur? He was only ever Danny Rose's backup. You know, it's kind of like they also have a huge sway in the dressing room. So it's every time they're under pressure after we have a big window, they're under pressure, right? They start making these rookie errors. And then what happens is the manager gets the sack because of it. We don't just go, well, hang on, we've had a recurring team here under Jose that had a pick up in form, went off a cliff, we sacked Jose. Bit of form under Nuno, went off a cliff, we ended up fucking sacking Nuno, you know? And it looks like we'll probably end up doing the same with Antonio Conte. We've got to realize you've got to stick with a manager and get these clowns out. They have a huge say around in the dressing room, a huge part of the culture that's in and around the club right now. You've got to get them gone. Until we're prepared to do that, this club ain't progressing.
Facts. I don't think anyone can answer that.
Let Jacko in there.
Jack, I'm going to go to you first for the match prediction for tomorrow.
Sure. I'm going to stick with what I have, stuck with here in Northside. I've said 2-1. I sort of feel like this defense is a defense that's reached a stage where I'm going to be praying to the gods tomorrow, the moment I wake up, hoping that they're not going to be causing the same sort of mistakes that they did with Liverpool, giving Mo Salah basically the best flick on he's ever had in his entire life. Those sort of, mistakes that Hugo gave you in the second half in the last North London derby, just those kind of errors have been basically the whole story of this season. So I'm going to be praying to the gods that they just don't happen tomorrow on the North London derby day. So I'm going to say 2-1. We still end up conceding because I don't have that much confidence. Even if the gods are on our side, I still don't have that much confidence. So 2-1. Harry Kane scores both. It's fairy tale story for the beating the Jimmy Greaves record as well for the all-time top scorer as well. But I think it could end up being a really good tactical battle, especially if Conte does go for that more pragmatic defensive kind of approach where he does maybe not fully go kind of head to head with you guys or toe to toe and maybe press you. I think he should actually take a bit more of a cautious kind of approach. I actually do think that could help us out this time. So 2-1 though still.
Fair enough. Irish, same question. What's your score prediction tomorrow?
Yeah, look, for me, Tottenham definitely ain't keeping a clean sheet. Even if we do go out there and we're on top, like I said, we're going to absolutely, gift wrap you, put a bow on it, and give you a present. Look, I'm going to go with Jack. I'm going to go 2-1. I'll be honest, it's because the home team usually wins the North London derby that has me thinking like this. But also, Harry Kane is going for Jimmy Greaves' record. And he's 2 goals away from it. He's 1 to equal it and 1 to beat it. I do think he wants to get it done this weekend. Kudu back is going to be another huge positive. He's a creator outside of Harry Kane and Ivan Perisic as well. Look, for me, it all depends what happens in the first half, if I'm being brutally honest. If Tottenham can hold their nerve and keep it a tight affair going into half-time, from halftime onwards, Tottenham are going to win that game if it's level, purely because I think we've scored 27 out of our, 34 league goals this season, all in the second half. We've scored 1 goal in the first half in our last 13 games. We start slow, we sit back, teams come on to us, we try and hit them on the counter and go and get that quick counter-attacking goal so that then teams have to come at us and then we can go and pick them off 2, 3, 4-0, a bit like what we were doing towards the end of last season, except for the difference this season is that players don't have the bottle or the nerve to be able to do that anymore. But forever, I love this club. I'm never, ever, ever going to predict the draw in the North London derby or say that you're going to win. My love for this club won't allow it. So 2-1 Tottenham Hotspur. I want to wipe the smoke off your faces. I want to take the league title away from you. It's like, and I want to send you back where you belong. So hopefully we can get the job done. Because look, just sit here and laugh, but we made, 11-point deficit after last international break last season. We rattled you so badly at Tottenham Hotspur. You were bet before kickoff. Then during the game, you were rattled that badly. You went up to Newcastle, brains all fuzzy, still thinking about it. Watching Emerson hold his flair when we celebrated and stuff like that. You were still thinking about and had a knock-on effect. And hopefully the same happens this time round. We beat you, United beat you, City beat you, and then all of a sudden you're not talking title talk anymore. That's what I want. So come on, you Spurs. Let's go.
There you go. Nothing's ever changed with Tottenham. You lot are more focused on top four. We're focused on trying to win the league. This is the difference between our clubs. You know what I'm saying? This is it. I'm focused on the league. You know what I mean?
For now.
This is the stepping stone for me to get to the league. This is your cup final. So it's cool. It's all right.
No, do you know what, though? It does show the demise of your football club, though. The fact that you used to talk about trophies, and now your main concern is finishing above Tottenham and having St. Tottenham's there. So overall, it does show the decline of your football club, which I absolutely relish. But look, I'll be honest. I mean, if you win the league, get me back on. I can sit here for an hour and people can cane me. Excuse the pun there. I know you guys don't like that word being said around here because he scores against you every single time he plays. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you now, you're not going to win the league, so don't get your hopes up. Typical Arsenal, top of the league by Christmas, and then fall away. I'm used to it. I expect it.
Listen, it is what it is. It's going to be an interesting match. Like I said, I'm available tomorrow. When we
Let's bring up that comment again. Bring up that comment about concentrating on Europa Conference League by Oregon Goon. I mean, last time I heard, I was walking down Newbridge High Road with a brass band behind me playing the Champions League team song, because that's where we are this season, my man. We bet you to it last season. Don't forget that. It's you that listens to the UEFA Cup music, and I bet you do it with pride as well.
Yeah, they've forgotten what the Champions League music sounds like.
Every Thursday, pumped up Europa Conference League music on in the background. It's absolutely disgraceful.
He's not having it. He's not having it. Listen, it is what it is. These guys are some good guys. People, make sure you like and subscribe to the Irish Hotspur. The link is in the description. Where else can people find you? You know, I know it's Arsenal fans, but we like watching different types of content. Where else can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter at the Irish Y. I'm not sure what the Instagram is. I think it's just the Irish Hotspur as well. But look, mainly the YouTube channel, the Irish Hotspur. Myself and Jacko, we talk a lot about Tottenham. Also love to have a bit of a drive at Arsenal whenever we can. But Jack, you also have the Flat Cap Your Talk, where you do a lot of scout reports on players.
Yeah, I haven't touched that one in a while, but if you are maybe looking for someone to, you know, maybe watch, you know, a Mudryk highlight reel or something like that, I'm sort of your guy. So check out that Flat Cap Euro Talk. But yeah, we also, maybe in case win or lose tomorrow, feel free to check us out because we're running a watch along as well, in case you want to watch it with, maybe to banter some Spurs fans, or as well, maybe just to sit there and take the tears as we're, you know, winning 3-0 by halftime. So we're doing a watch along and a pre-match build up as well, if you're looking for some people to hang out with for North London Derby too.
There you go, man. There you go. People, make sure you go like and subscribe, man. Good guys. Ever since I met you guys, man, it's always simple, easy. Send the link. You're there. It's always just straight up.
Likewise,
you know what I mean?
Likewise, I was going to say likewise. Yeah.
We like you having you on. Our fans like having you on as well. I think they think you're a reasonable gooner, which is fair. Look, you know, at the end of the day, I'm one of these fans. I enjoy the rivalry. I'm always going to big it up before the game. After the game, I'll come and speak sense if you want me to. But before the game, I'm always going to big it up. I love the rivalry. And don't forget, every gunner's a runner.
Every gunner's a runner. What's there to run to? You know, listen, it is what it is. You know what? Yeah, you keep talking. We're the only ones that bring any sort of trophies to North London. So it's funny that you talk about now we don't speak about trophies. When do you guys ever speak about trophies? That's all I'm gonna say. We brought pride to North London. What do you not bring?
I have no answer to that, to be fair.
That's why Conte's sticking around.
It is what it, you know. It's such a shame. Such nice Tottenham fans. You guys are nice guys. Why can't you just be Arsenal fans, man? We could have done so much more streams. We could have just been linking up even more. Do you know what I mean?
If I was an Arsenal fan, my father would have put me up for adoption. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd probably be over in New York with Jack, adopted by an American family. My old lad wouldn't have it.
Listen, it is what it is. Listen, pleasure having you lot on. People, make sure you like and subscribe to the Irish Hotspur. The link is in the description of this video. And we already know who's going to win. And we already know that North London is red. We're out.